Welcome back. It's great to have you here. I'm Samaj. This is Creating with Samaj, and every single day we show up for 15 or 20 minutes to put some marks on paper. So if you're ready to join me today, go ahead and grab your coffee, your tea, or your supplies and join along with me as we spend a few minutes creating. Great to have you here. We show up making marks on paper, seeing what's going to show up, and I don't have my marking pen. And now I do. Let's go ahead and get these wet before we start. Praying Oval 16, it's easy, it's available to most people, and this is Canson XL paper, and again, it's easy and accessible, and I think, it's nice to have things in a little book, so it's easy to organize, and you can put it on a shelf, or you could even tear out the pages and send it off to someone if you need to send a gift. Because at the end of the year, we're going to have 365 amazing pieces of artwork, and from that, you're going to have at least a dozen or more that are pretty doggone good. So let's see where our adventure takes us today. Oops, another landscape. But they're so much fun. Point of intersect. I'm going to go ahead and mark this out right now because we don't have any paint or anything on it. It is so fun having you join me on this adventure of us seeing what we can create together. I think it's important to see what we're capable of, and that's why I show up for you so that we can show up for each other and see what we can create in about 15 minutes by just putting marks on paper. I'm in my coloring book phase right now. I feel like doing this makes up and creates my own little coloring book, which is so fun. And I get to drop colors in and see how they play. And I never colored when I was a kid, I realized. I had mentioned before, I was messy apparently as a child, and so I got chastised a lot. But I think part of that messiness came from living in an extremely chaotic environment. We all show up here for different reasons of why we're here painting. I hope your reason is to expand yourself, to see what you're capable of this year, what you can do in 2025. Can you believe that we're here? I remember growing up and being, I think it was in the 6th grade, Mrs. Ammonrood's class. She was a great teacher. And Mrs. Ammonrood was talking to us. We were reading, I'll tell you, this will date me because I told you I'm an old guy, right? The Weekly Reader. Yes, The Weekly Reader. And I remember in the classroom reading it, and funny thing about it is we were talking about laser discs and the year 2025, and that laser discs were going to be all the rage, and everybody was going to be watching movies on laser discs in their home. And I remember telling everyone in the class, 2025, I'm not even going to be alive then. I'd be like 60. And yet, here I am. And I'm loving it. So glad I made it here. You know, so many folks I parlayed with when I was young did not have the opportunity to make it to this point in life. And the fact that I'm here, I celebrate it every single day. Because, live a great story. That's what I always say. Live a great story. Oh no! What happened? I don't get bothered by things, but that kind of, well, it's going to be mud on the road or something. Oh, there, totally forgot I had that color on it. Let's just ugly up this painting. Let's see how ugly we can make it. When you get to a point that something happens, you're like, okay, how much uglier can I make it then? That's my thought always. Let's move that over here a little bit. Let's pay attention to what we're doing. That would probably benefit as well. No idea what we were talking about. It went right out of my head when that incident occurred with that dark color that showed up as a print, a stain on the piece. But you know what? We in intuitive painting, we don't care about the end result. You saw in the moment I got angry about it and I was upset, but you know what? When you let that go, it doesn't bother you anymore, and you just see where you can go with it, and you change the paradigm to, ooh, now how ugly can I make it? And then it becomes kind of like a challenge to see what could happen, what you might do, where it might go, how it might show up. I didn't get to do this painting thing when I was young, this creative thing when I was young. I was the responsible household doer, child, laborer person. So this is fun as an adult to hang out with you and have us paint together. What big thing did you start yesterday? That's what I want to know. I mean, you're not going to leave comments or anything, but what thing did you start? What did you talk to yourself about? What ideas do you have? Got something big you're working on? Something you're planning? That it's going to be awesome. You know why? Because you're involved in it. Because it's one of your ideas. And you know, your ideas, when you put them into motion, it'll allow you to see what you can do, how you can grow, and it's just really fun. It's really fun to see the potential. And that potential shows up when we show up. If we never show up, we never ever really get to where we want to be. I remember in New York, I opened my salon with not a single client, moved from California, decided, hey, there's nearly, at the time, 6 million people in New York. I'm just going to open a salon and people are going to walk in the door and they're going to find me. And you know what? That's exactly what happened. The first couple of weeks it was difficult, but you know what? People started showing up. People started walking out with great hair, and other people saw them, and other people started walking in. And before you know it, I had people walking into my salon saying, I don't even know why I'm here. I'm just here. And I said, oh, I know why you're here. And usually it was because we needed to have a conversation about something, have a conversation about what they're doing in their life, or where they're wanting to go, or their dreams. And it was quite often that I would have someone in my chair or someone in the salon, and this person would share something that they wanted to do or accomplish, or something that they were working on, and someone else in the shop would be that conduit person, the person who would be able to make that dream come true. And also they had a need in their moment of finding someone, and the universe would just bring things together. And that was always such a satisfying thing. But those things only happen when we show up. I never would have had the opportunity in my salon if I had just kept the doors closed every day, if I was there for 3 hours, no one showed up, I'm going home, or complain that, I'm never there, but yet, either are the clients. So I am a big proponent of showing up, because when you show up, well, that's when the magic happens. That's when the magic happens, when you show up every day. Wow. It's a very fun painting. When you do something and it brings you joy, yeah, that's the kind of place you want to be. That's where we're hoping for, this little flow state experience of hanging out and just maybe being with a friend and talking and chatting and seeing what happens, listening to someone ramble at you. I certainly enjoy every single one of you that has chosen to be part of this journey. And I trust you are doing something with it, not just sitting back and watching me do all the work, that you too are participating in finding your joy in the things that you do and your creations and what you're able to create. Because we are all creators. We were all made to create. Making things with our hands is one of the most joyful things. And when we can get things that are super easy, like Prang Oval 16, Canson XL paper, you get a waterproof pen of some sort, you get a book, and you can paint for a really long time. And if you wanted to, you could probably even turn the page and paint on the other side, or create something on the other side of a page, and then you'd have even more pages to play with, even more pages to play with, more pages to play with. So if you want, the desire is there, then the opportunity will show itself. And when you show up for the opportunity, well, that's when the magic starts to show up as well. Because it knows you're wanting to be involved in the adventure. And so the magic, says, hey, I found somebody who wants to play. And then all of that exciting play begins. And it has been fun and exciting having this playtime with you today as we see what the colors can create, what happens, even when the unexpected happens, like putting your hand in the wrong color and having a moment where you get upset about it, and then you just let it go. You just let it go. And then you realize that from that, something else can happen. And when it all is said and done, if you enjoyed the process of the creating, if you enjoyed being here, making something, so at the end of the year, you can reflect back and see all of the things that you created with your own hands, well, I think that is a pretty satisfying investment. You know, I always enjoy spending the time that we get to spend together, creating what we do every single day for the 15 or 20 minutes that we're here, putting marks on paper. Right now, I'm in my coloring book phase, where I get to put lines on the page and then fill it in with color. And you know, it just brings me joy. I don't know. It's like the 6-year-old boy in me is having a really, really good time. And for a 6-year-old boy, you know, not bad work. I was in a process painting last year, and the instructor asked us to approach something from our 4-year-old person. And so I did. And the instructor said, I want you to know that from a 4-year-old perspective, that was a really beautiful piece. And that was just really nice to hear. So from my 6-year-old self, I want to say, I'm enjoying this piece. Thank you for enjoying this time with me. I'm Semaj. This is Creating with Semaj. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you to all the new subscribers that are here as well. I trust that as you're on this journey, you expand in what your creative process is. And wherever you are, I trust that you have the most amazing day. And until then,